the fog is back. And it's nice. I like it because it dampens all the sound. As you can hear, you know, my voice isn't quite back yet. And I've now had this thing going on for 10 days, 12 days. And it doesn't seem to get any better. But, well, it does. Don't get me wrong, I haven't got the hacking cough I had. I'm not feeling exhausted all the time. A bit short of breath maybe, but it's a very persistent cold. It's really quite annoying. It's our third day of fog. Well, I don't mind it, I rather like it, because I think it makes everything look mysterious. And but my goodness me, it doesn't have to affect the light. I've had the lights on at home for 3 days now. I was just thinking to myself, it's curious, isn't it, how we can change our perception of something completely just by changing the soundtrack, the sounds that are going on behind something. Here's a short clip of film as I took it on the fields 5 minutes ago. Now let's see that clip with a slightly different soundtrack. And now a third time with another soundtrack. It's extraordinary, isn't it? And of course, that's why a good sound engineer and a good Foley artist and a good musical score writer is so important when you're making a film. And they're quite often overlooked. You know, everyone makes a big fuss about the cinematography and the acting quality and the directing. Very rarely hear people talking about how good the sound was, and yet it can be the absolute making or breaking of a film. So a big thumbs up to the sound engineers and the Foley artists, and of course the musicians. Well, it's just as foggy today as it has been previous days. What's this, day 5, day 6? It just doesn't seem to want to lift off these hills, but I suppose it is quite mild for the time of year. And there's a lot of moisture in the air. It just won't go away. A bit like my bug. Now I'm moving into my 3rd week. I'm someone who never gets ill. This thing's a nightmare. I think about 50% of the people I know were ill over Christmas with the same thing. It just seems to be a very virulent strain of whatever it is. But hey ho, it's not life-threatening, is it? It'll pass, as all these things do. Something that the fog does do is it accentuates the shapes of the trees because there's no background. You know, it's like seeing them against a piece of grey card, isn't it? And you get to appreciate the lovely shapes of these trees. And it also leads you to asking questions about how do they know when to stop growing? I mean, you can identify an oak tree or a poplar by the shape of it. So how do the branches know that when they reach a certain point, stop growing, otherwise you won't be the right shape for an oak? Interesting, isn't it? I mean, I do know the answer, but why don't you go and find out? And I've just realised, looking in my camera here, that possibly time I have a trim of my beard. I was growing it out a little bit because I was playing Father Christmas. But now it's over, I really ought to trim it back, because all it's doing at the moment in this cold weather and this mist is getting wet. It's quite nice walking through these foggy ash groves. I mean, I'm making the most of having the ashes here, because at least these have survived dieback so far. But it's lovely, isn't it? And the fog just adds a little bit of atmosphere. Yeah, it's lovely. Well, Harriet seems to be enjoying it anyway. Oh, there are a few dog walkers. See someone in the distance there. We're not the only ones, mate. We're not the only ones. Yep, I'm still not disagreeing with you. But there's nothing there. What message are you trying to tell me? Well, the fences have started going up. You probably can't see it on this video, but they've got the fences right around the top, all around here. And you can see some of the poles there on the ground all ready to be driven in. So yeah, it's not going to be very long, I think, before this is all going to be fenced off. And the sheep will be much safer. I had a brief written conversation on social media with the farmer earlier today. And he was saying they have had a couple of dog attacks, and he's hoping it hasn't affected any of the sheep who are carrying lambs, because some of them are starting to look a little bit chubbier. Still a long way off yet, of course. They're obviously out there working, because there's the tractor just parked up there. Maybe they're on a lunch break, as indeed I am. But still nice to see it. They definitely seem to be a lot braver these days, the sheep. Let me see how close they are to me here. They're actually watching me, but they're not bothered. They're not bothered at all. It's good to see it. I have to say, it felt a bit weird walking by the entrance to that sheep field and not taking a photograph, because I've done that 366 times in the previous year. If you haven't seen the video yet, there's one on this channel called A Year Where Almost Nothing Happens in a Field. And you can actually see how that field changes over the course of a whole year. But it feels weird now, because it's become such a part of my daily habit, stopping there to take a photograph. And now I don't have to do it anymore. Well, much nicer day today, and the fencing's going up well. All the posts are in anyway. And they've now blocked off public access, quite rightly too. And we have heard of a couple of dog attacks recently, which is a great shame, but hopefully this will solve the problem. But yeah, the posts are all up, so the fencing is on its way. Now, there's going to be people complaining about this new fencing and the fact that they can no longer walk into this field or down the path that walks down there or walks along there. But the fact is, it's the farmer's field. It's not a public right of way. There's no footpath there, and the farmer leases it from the council, and the council regulations say you've got to fence up to the edge of the field. So there's no choices there, and people can hardly moan. I mean, look, if I walk up here, well, first of all, there's another footpath that runs parallel down here and another one down there. And if you come up here, there's a footpath here, which is actually very pleasant, that goes down through the wooded area there. You can walk through, that runs parallel to that field. And if you don't want to walk along there, you can go into the actual field itself and walk along the path. So people can't really complain, but some people will. It's the nature of people that someone will complain. It is a beautiful winter's day. Look at that sky, not a cloud. It's absolutely gorgeous. Unfortunately, it's also very cold. I'm out of the sun at the moment, and I'm quite aware of the fact I'm out of the sun. So I'm going to have to actually get into that sunshine ASAP. Look, little wren. Oh, there he goes. Two little wrens. How lovely. Oh, this is gorgeous. What a lovely view. What a lovely view. I've got the tractor in today, and there's Ed the farmer banging the posts in. And the posts are going up all the way around this big field, which is about 23 acres, I think it is, this field. So at least all the sheep can be safely contained on this field to start with anyway. So that's a good start. And then you'll start working on this bigger field over here, where you can see the sheep are out there at the moment. There. Fabulous. But again, people can't complain. They can't walk up alongside that field anymore, because we've got all this right next to the field. Look, this is the actual public footpath. There's no actual public footpath in there. But the fact that people have been allowed to walk there in the past, they think they've got this God-given right there. Well, we've always walked there. Well, that's only because the farmer didn't mind, because all he had in there was arable crops. Things are a bit different now, he's got livestock. So, yeah, it's all a matter of learning and finding a balance between the needs of the farmer and the needs of the community. I'm sure it'll work itself out. He's a nice bloke. The farmer's a nice bloke, and his family are nice too. I think that's probably it for this week. There's not a lot to report. I mean, it's the week of New Year, isn't it? So, and not a lot's been happening, apart from the fact that I still haven't got my throat back properly yet. But anyway, if you like this sort of content, please stay tuned. Got some nice stuff coming this year. There's going to be a few trips away. There's going to be lots more arty-farty things. In fact, the first one's going to be posted in a few days' time. And I'm also going to do sort of portraits of the month this year. Instead of doing like a year in a field, like the video I did recently, I'm going to go out and take little clips of video to highlight all the things that are happening in January and February and March, etc, etc. So it'll be like a sort of diary, I suppose, of the months as they pass. So with that in mind, I'm going to go off and do a bit of videoing now. If you like this content, like I said, please subscribe if you're not already. Please like, and I will see you in the next video. Toodle-pip. If you've enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing. Or click on some of these links to look at some of the other videos on the channel. Or press the like button. Or leave a comment. It would be lovely to hear from you. Any combination of those 4 things would be wonderful. Thank you very much.